Whatever size, shape or state your outdoor space is in, it should work for you and bring you joy. I've spent a couple of years working on my garden and it's now in a place which I can't wait to spend my time in. We moved into our home around 3 years ago and it didn't take long until I started to get itchy and wanted to get going on the garden. It was already gorgeous and that's one of the reasons we fell in love with the house. It had a little shed down the end, many beautiful shrubs and a weeping birch which we named Treebeard. The only problem was it wasn't mine. I had no connection to any of the plants, I didn't know the story behind them and it didn't bring me joy. It was a beautiful view, yes, but it wasn't special. I'd seen on the Gardener's World website a gorgeous white raised bed style which I'd set my heart on. Essentially they're rendered breeze blocks painted a whitish colour. So after ripping down and replacing the old fencing, I bribed my bestie, who's a plasterer by trade, and we got started on the raised beds. These are cemented into place much like you would with a brick wall, and then a cement-based scratch coat is applied, followed by a render, which is smoothed and painted. He did most of it, I just looked pretty, ordered pizza and told jokes. No garden is complete without a pond, and I was given some leftover liner by my dad, who had also just finished making a pond. I dug it out, set the liner in place and surrounded it with rocks. We introduced 3 goldfish, Ron, Harry and Hermione, and it turns out we got the genders right too, because Hermione had lots of babies in the same year, though we don't know which the father is just yet. Sorry JK. We added some outdoor seating under the tree and started filling the end bed with some plants we'd either rescued from other areas of the garden or had started buying, mainly hostas, a lavender and some Moroccan daisies. I joined a hard standing area which I built using leftover stepping stones to the raised bed closest to the house, and it created a nice long growing area up against the fence. I added a planter to the hard standing area so I could grow potatoes off the ground, and it gave me some storage underneath for pots. Once that was done, I fixed up the lawn and started growing lots of veg in the spring. I've never been much of a fan of grass. It's very pretty, but it doesn't offer a lot and it also gives slugs a home, which I really don't like. I wanted to move my pots off the grass because it made cutting it more difficult, so I made a simple pot garden, a video for which you can find on the channel. I cut away the turf, laid some weed suppressant down and covered with some white gravel to complement the beds. This did the job well and it also gave me some easy to access pots to grow some Swiss chard and chili peppers. I wasn't 100% happy with the pot garden though. The shape was nice but it didn't feel right. It was also a pain to mow the pathways either side and the grass got damaged easily by me walking over such a small area. Time for a change I thought, and what else was there to do in lockdown? I have 4 large raised beds for growing fruit and veg but not a lot of space for flowers. So we need to add more beds. In the winter I started digging away the turf and laying down some log rolls to make some lower beds. It should feel like the garden flows down from the sides. I'll then make paths around the beds using the same white stones. I use stakes to ensure the log rolls stay in place and then fill the beds with the turf, turned upside down to stop the grass growing, and then top them up with some compost. The centre area, which was the pot garden, will become a teardrop shaped bed instead, which will give me lots of space for flowers and will be easy to get to feed the birds. My dad made me a cold frame for Christmas which is going to sit where the path splits. It'll be easy to get to and it's not shaded from anything. Many bags of gravel later and I have the pathway in. I finish it off with a line of larger stones for now, though I may change that later. All of the turf fit in the beds and I didn't need much compost in the end to top them up. I clean up all the pots and scatter them around just to make it feel a little less bare. Now I just need to fill it all with plants, but that will happen in time and will be a never-ending joy. So that's where the garden is at the moment. I'm sure it will change again at some stage, but I'm very happy with it. There's a lot less wasted space and it gives me lots of area for growing everything I want. The raised beds are easier to look after than having everything at ground level, and I've managed to add some interesting heights and shapes. It's personal, it's mine, and now I get to nurture plants and crops in it for years to come. It doesn't matter what you do with your outdoor space. It doesn't need to cost a lot or be a huge undertaking. Just make something that works for you and that you want to spend your time in. I hope you enjoyed this video and it inspires you to get outside. It's been only a week since I set up my Patreon and I already have 4 people who have joined the community. Thank you to Janet, Julia, Matthew and Jan for supporting the channel. If you're interested in joining us, there's a link in the description for more information. Do subscribe if you enjoy my content and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you and happy growing.